So let's begin by having the prayer before learning. Join poems. To help all sentient beings across all universes, we must strive for ultimate enlightenment. The path to enlightenment begins with learning the Buddha's teachings. We are currently exploring the stages of the path to enlightenment. May all Buddhas, Dharma, Sangha, and past practitioners empower us to deepen our understanding of the teachings and equip us to overcome our own suffering and that of others. With unwavering dedication, one day we may achieve ultimate enlightenment and establish Pure Lands. Together, we can guide all sentient beings toward liberation from suffering and toward enlightenment. Homage to the root Guru Shakyamuni Buddha. Homage to the root Guru Shakyamuni Buddha. Homage to the root Guru Shakyamuni Buddha. And we may have this verse for opening a Buddhist scripture: supreme, profound, and wonderful Dharma, difficult to encounter in hundreds, thousands, and millions of eons. I now see, hear, receive, uphold, and accept it. May I realize that that's true meaning. So it's been many weeks. We are now on page 13. This preface, adjusting one's motivation before entering the path. We last time we went through this verse from the foundation of all qualities. Actually, when we study Lamrim, there are two ways to begin with the study of the Lamrim Chemo. One is to recite a Heart Sutra. Okay, one time recite the sutra, the Heart Sutra, or recite this foundation of all qualities. So this is actually a passage, a part of the verses in this the foundation of all qualities. So why not recite the foundation of all qualities before we have today's discussion? Teacher Tang says that because we are learning this like a student, and we are doing this discussion session. It's not like receiving the teachings from Rinpoche or a certain guru. And Teacher Tang says that we are sharing whatever we learn from the gurus and Rinpoches. That's why we will do whatever the Dharma lessons will do by chanting the name of the Buddha 3 times, plus the verse of opening the scripture, and that. And of course, we have this contemplation, the prayer before the study. So those will be enough for this kind of discussion session. Okay. So we've talked about this understanding this fortunate human birth surpasses the wish fulfilling gene. It's because we can have this human body to learn, which means that especially we have this opportunity to study this Lamrim Chema. Yeah. Then we can say that we have this 8 freedoms and 10 endowments. Okay, that's the most important thing, on here. So last time we also discussed about what would be so-called the civilized lands. There are 2 ways to look at this. One is saying like, oh yes, of course, this should be a civilized country or place. We will have enough resources to study, and the country is stable, peace, not so many I say riots or any wars. So then we can be more able to study Dharma. However, there is also another way of looking at this, so-called the civilized lands, meaning that you have someone to tell you what is the teaching, what are the teachings of the Buddha. And of course, you also have monastics and lay practitioners around, like Buddhist monastics and lay practitioners around. That means you have this civilized land or central land here, this the 5 personal advantages. The second one is born in a central land. That central land means you have someone to tell you the Buddha Dharma. And also you can find Buddhist monastics and also lay practitioners around. That means you are in this central land. Okay. Page 14. Yes, please. The body. Yeah, the body.
The question is, what are the faculties referring to?
Yeah, so the 5 faculties, like eyes, ears, nose, mouth, so that there won't be any difficulties for you to learn. Of course, you are capable of writing notes and having a good environment, and people can sponsor you in providing a place, and it's quite good enough to be a place where you can study and also discuss. So these all bring into account of having this freedoms and endowments to have this ability to study the Dharma, to say that you are having this so-called fortunate human birth. Okay. And of course, to look at a teacher, here it says that you need to have this teacher that are good at giving teachings, and also himself or herself practicing the Dharma. It's not like he or she only shares what they know, but they also cultivate according to the teachings. So these are also important. Okay. So having this human body is like you are holding this priceless treasure. Yeah, it does. Like I explained to students on last Saturday, I said that a lot of people, they pour a lot of resources and money into making a human-like robot, right? Were they successful? Not yet, right? So imagine how priceless this human body is. Like you are having this human body. Like even pouring so much money into it cannot make one exactly like your human body. So having this kind of like equipment or kind of like a vessel that you can have, a tool, yeah, just make use of it. Yeah. So it's indeed very precious. So teacher Venerable, we are here most. So on the 16.
Page 16. Most people have never pondered this question, or they may even believe the value of a wish-fulfilling gem far exceeds that of a human body. But thinking carefully, one discovers the exact opposite is true. Why? Because through a human body endowed with freedom and the endowments, one can achieve 3 levels of benefit: the great, the medium, and the small. The greatest benefit is to attain Buddhahood, where all faults are completely eradicated and all virtues fully perfected, bringing ultimate benefit both to oneself and others. If attaining Buddhahood swiftly is not feasible, one can still achieve liberation, freedom from the suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death in cyclic existence. Failing even that, one can at least avoid rebirth into the lower realms and secure an advantageous rebirth among heavenly beings or humans in the next life. Past gurus have said, when you have obtained a precious human body, you must seize the opportunity to ensure that life after life, you go from good to better. If you cannot immediately achieve Buddhahood or liberation, at least ensure that your next life will be better than this one.
Okay, Venerable. So 2 parts, like your goals, at least one goal is having a better life, next life. The second goal would be attaining the Buddhahood, so-called to reach that ultimate enlightenment. Okay, so through these 3 capacities, the first capacity, the lower or small capacity, if you are practicing following this guidance within this so-called small capacity teachings, then at least you can have this benefit that you can pursue a better next lifetime. Okay, like how you can cultivate yourself by following this so-called 10 wholesome deeds, for example. Okay, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no scolding, or no gossip, yeah, or saying like meaningless words. Especially like three of them, like no greediness,
No greed, no anger.
no anger. Especially the anger would cause harm. And also no wrong views. No wrongly views or no wrong views. So these 3, we say like 3 poisons, but actually, if they are not causing any harm, then we can't say that they are poison. Like some people, they say like desire is one of the poisons, like 3 poisons. But no, desire is not. Like greedy, how greedy you are. When you say like greedy, probably is mostly like negative. But we can say like you are greedy with helping more people, probably, that kind of thing. If it's generating good deeds, then it can be the poison. Yeah. So sometimes when we talk about these 3 poisons, yeah, we have, especially we're talking about those based on the wrong views. So that the greediness will harm other people, the anger will harm other people or other beings, other sentient beings. Anything to add?
No, I mean, even in wrong views too. What are we talking about when we're saying wrong views, right? It's like things like karma and impermanence, like denying that there's cause and effect, or that believing that things are somehow permanent, as like a permanent self, and not kind of understanding the totality of a situation, right?
And not believing in the possibility of reaching so-called enlightenment to be liberated from all sufferings.
Yeah, if you have that, if you don't believe in that, or you believe this is impossible, then you will never have any effort towards it, right? So you've blocked yourself from further developing. That makes sense. Yeah.
So any questions, feel free to ask.
What about anger and like compassion?
Yes, so that's why we said like when of course anyone would be mad sometimes, but if this kind of anger with good intention, sometimes like someone asked Confucius, should one be angry sometimes? Of course you can. Confucius said, like, to show the anger of I'll say to deny this bad deeds harming people. Of course, you should show this anger, so the people will know where you stand. Like yeah, you are not supporting this kind of acts, like harming other people or harming sentient beings, other beings.
So the question was, what about anger, a compassionate anger or anger with good intentions?
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, so to have this anger itself can't mean that you are having this so-called poisoning anger. But the anger that will cause harm, then that be considered like poisoned anger.
So as long as we don't portray the anger in a way that harm people, it is okay as long as we feel angry inside.
Okay, so not to harm yourself is also included. Okay, you can't just, okay, I'm so angry, I'm not harming anyone, but I'm harming myself, and that is not good. Okay, don't set a block for your cultivation in pursuing enlightenment.
I have a story once, I think it was the Buddha who, or maybe another incarnation, I don't know, murdered someone on a ship to save the ship,
Saved 500 people.
500 people. How does that square with the evil poison? Because that is, I'm assuming the intention is good, but obviously harms others.
Venerable, please. Sure.
That example, that's one of the Jataka, the Jataka tale, like kind of past lives of the Buddha. So they'll use that to talk about ethics, like, is killing always bad, right? So in that story, the Buddha was not Buddha, he was a bodhisattva. He was on his way to becoming a Buddha. And he overhears that there are a group of bandits that they're planning to kill all these merchants on the ship. So there's no escape, right? It's like 5 bandits and 500 merchants. They're going to poison them and take all their money. And he thinks about this situation, and he said, out of compassion, he knows these 5 bandits are going to go to hell. They're going to have a terrible rebirth as a consequence of this. And so he takes it upon himself to then kill the bandits. That doesn't absolve him of the consequences of killing. And that's where people kind of sometimes will skip on this. The Buddha in that phase, in that process, still goes to hell. But in a way, it's kind of reduced because his motivation was not out of selfish or personal gain. It wasn't out of anger, right? He wasn't killing the 5 bandits because he hated them or he was angry at them, right? He was killing them to save them from having to deal with the horrendous act of killing 500 people, poisoning them. So yeah, we'll use that story kind of to illustrate this point. But I think it's always added with a clause, right? That one has to be able to actually take on the consequences. I think in this case, as Stephen said, like, the Buddha had a psychic ability, right? So he knew the fullness of the situation and so could act skillfully. Versus us that are ordinary, we should not go around and be like, well, that person is planning on, that opens a whole can of problems, right? So we're using this more as an illustration, not as something to copy, right? As ordinary people. I think too, that's not dealing quite with anger as it is dealing with the precept around killing. I think with anger, how do you say, it's like if there's a person and you're angry at the person, that's quite different than you're angry about hatred or you're angry about some sort of injustice that you wish to use that angry energy to kind of forcefully show and change. One example you can use is like if you're a mother or a parent or any adult and there's a kid that's going to run into the traffic, you're not going to be like, stop, come here. You're not going to be very soft and gentle, right? You are going to scream at that kid and terrify them into stopping what they're doing and then commanding them to turn around. Not because, you're have more power over them, but because they don't know. They don't know the consequences, right? And you do as an adult because you have more wisdom and experience. So it's not that there's any anger at that actual child, and the benefit of expressing that anger and that energy is purely for the safety of the child, not to scare them. We're not getting any enjoyment out of this, right? So I think that's a kind of difference in skillful anger versus unskillful anger. And then the general advice is we should not really show our anger all the time. We should be very cautious with it, right? I don't know if that responds to the compassion. Yeah.
Okay, so 3 levels of benefit: the great, medium, and small. At least you will have some benefit, like ultimately attaining the Buddhahood, of course, or eradicate faults, and virtues fully perfected. Okay, so these are the goals that we are pursuing. That's from this paragraph. So we can move on to the next, and we can discuss a bit about this part.
This one?
Yes.
Of these 3 benefits, we can set aside Buddhahood or liberation for a moment. Even the smallest benefit, merely not falling into a lower realm, cannot be granted by a wish-fulfilling gem. We can see this from the example of a Naga king. In the past, most wish-fulfilling gems on Earth were stored in the depths of the ocean, and the Naga king's underwater palace was built of them. He even adorned himself with ornaments made of wish-fulfilling gems. Yet he was still unable to escape the lower realms, and not falling into the lower realms is merely the smallest achievement possible with a human rebirth. Furthermore, if one does not have a human body, how could one ever obtain or use a wish-fulfilling gem, no matter how many of them exist in the world? You must first be human to search for and acquire such a gem. The worldly benefits a wish-fulfilling gem can grant, health, long life, abundant food, and so forth, can also be gained through human effort. But what a human body can accomplish, liberation and ultimate awakening, cannot be achieved by any gem. Looking at it this way, one understands the precious human body truly exceeds the value of a wish-fulfilling gem.
Okay, so can't we pursue this worldly like happiness or worldly benefits? Like, yeah, we should at least have some happiness within this lifetime, and some worldly matters that are also creating joys, happiness to us. So aren't we going after them? Or should we only focus on so-called this Buddhahood, and to accumulate the merits, or having all these good virtues to be perfected, or like to eradicate all faults? Like, isn't that a human being should have some faults so that we will be more human-like? Okay, so all these questions. Any thoughts on that?
I guess when we are being brought into this world, we are ignorant. So during our ignorance, we may enjoy this. But I feel that after we are guided towards the path of enlightenment, then maybe we should learn to forsake some of the stuff we had tried to pursue and focus on the betterment of ourselves and our next life.
Thoughts?
I think that makes sense to a certain extent, but if we're saying like health, long life, maybe not abundant food, are like these benefits, then you would need the health and the long life in order to practice more or to have more benefit on others. So you need both.
Need both. No. Therefore,
No comment.
no comments.
How are you?
It's not like we have to abandon all this worldly happiness or worldly matters. Like, but of course, yeah, through learning, we know, or okay, there are more beyond this worldly matters, like pursuing the enlightenment, for example, to be able to help more sentient beings, for example, or to eradicate or suffering, for example, all these, without this kind of instructions or teachings, we are lacking in this kind of imagination. Yeah. So having this kind of guidance, then we have this kind of imagination. Then we know, okay, this is something that we can look after, we can pursue, yeah, for our lives. And that's one. And two, like, yes, we are looking for a better next life, but why not this lifetime? Okay. We are looking for the possibility to be born in the Pure Land, but why not to create a better land here? Okay, people will question, right? So what would be your take?
If I may use a Chinese phrase, 心有余而力不足. So it means that although we want to do it, but our abilities are not there to reach there. Because when we are born, I feel that everybody has their own abilities. It is only some people who maybe meet great teachers or have guidance that they're able to reach that destination, or maybe not a destination, but that ability faster. So for example, I'm 50 and I'm still seeking. So it's like, it depends on fate to meet the right teacher. And of course, what you're born with in your brain.
You mean fate?
Yeah, fate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shimon, you have anything to share?
I still think you need both.
Still
I
need
think
both.
I think you need to make this world better, and I'll also focus on attaining that liberation. They would go hand in hand, I think, too, right?
Mhm.
The things that you do to qualify you for Buddhahood would make the world a better place intrinsically.
Yes. Slia,
I agree.
you agree? Okay. Yes. So when we talk about like two truths, like conventional truth and ultimate truth, like ultimately, also we can see things like conventionally and ultimately. Conventionally, of course, we can try our best to make a world a much better place. At least, a small scale place, like a good family, or have a good relationship with other people. That's something that you can do, at least in this lifetime. And ultimately, of course, we can pursue this so-called enlightenment or to become a Buddha in the future. That's what we can do as well. But we also have to realize that life is impermanent. Okay. So within this short lifetime, because we don't know when will we die. So this is something we have to be acknowledged. We should acknowledge. And then how to use this time wisely. So why here, always saying like, okay, you should focus on the next lifetime, is as if you are studying right now in order to have a happy life in the future. The same thing. You work so hard in this present life is because you are looking for a better future in the next lifetime. That's the same thing. Like you work so hard as a student in universities or in your workplace because you want to gain knowledge so you can have a good career, or you can have a lot of money so you can have better retirement. The same pursuit. You work this lifetime in order to have a better next lifetime. Or you can be born into the Pure Land so you'll be able to have a better environment for cultivation to achieve Buddhahood. Okay, so that's the same thing. It's not like the kindergarten is not important, the elementary school is important, or elementary school is not important, the college is important. It's not like that. Or in the school is not important, the career is important, or the retirement is important. To have a job is not important. No, it's not like that. So both are important, but you are pursuing something in the future. So look beyond is something mentioned here. And also the instruction of the Buddhism. like showing this possibility to eradicate all suffering and to attain that kind of enlightenment so that you will have better ways to help sentient beings, including ourselves. Of course, we are part of the sentient beings. So how will we be able to achieve that? To have those abilities in helping sentient beings, to have the enlightenment so that you will know the truth of the whole universe, even, or in different universes, even. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can move on to the next part.
So, in fact, even without the full 8 freedoms and 10 endowments, just a regular human body is already extremely precious. Setting aside Buddhist perspectives, in purely worldly terms, by virtue of being human, we can do much that benefits society at large. For instance, science and technology today progress at lightning speed, bringing benefits and conveniences never before seen, thus improving countless lives. Who created all this? Humans. Only humans have the capacity and intelligence to accomplish such feats. Animals cannot. Therefore, if we employ our human birth with an altruistic motivation, it can wield an immense positive impact. On the other hand, if used poorly, humans become the most destructive force, harming both self and others, devastating the present life, and undermining future ones.
Okay, so what makes humans so special? Also been explained by the Buddha. Okay, especially the human beings on Earth. We have a lot of different universes, a lot of different worlds or planets. But why in this planet Earth and to be a human like us are so special for attaining enlightenment or learning the way to become a Buddha? Guess?
Gotta say, this is something I struggle with because I feel like that's a very humans only think humans are the most important. But I feel like we lack a lot of perspective about like what animals might feel or how smart like a squid is, for example, or an octopus. And we don't have insight into that. And so how is it that being born or as a human is better than being born as an animal? I don't understand.
Okay, that's good.
For me, I just feel that humans are endowed with the ability to think. So it is up to us how we use our ability to think to change life for the sentient beings or to reach enlightenment, to help others.
Hey, so Sandra brought this good point on thinking. The human has this ability to do profound thinking, like philosophical thinking, compared with other beings. You can tell from a very shallow level, like who invented so many things. Yeah, before we say like betterize this world, okay, but at least like human beings throughout history, a lot of human beings, the great human beings, they made a lot of progress or any invention or helping to make this planet better in some ways. In some ways, you can't deny it, but yes, of course, we can also say like human did a lot of stupid things to make this world chaotic, in some ways, but also creating some values and also to provide good wisdom, to explore more about what is the truth. So all that. But compare with animals in general, to say all these animal realms, yeah, they compare with human, they obviously can do less comparatively. And what you said was actually when the Buddha was trying to tell students what would be the most valuable part to be a human. It's the ability of thinking. The ability of thinking. That makes human like that. But yeah, any other thoughts? But there are still some benefits of becoming a human. Of course, I will share that with you. But
I don't want to turn into an argument.
oh, okay. But I think sometimes you can argue with some points, I think. Yeah. Because without arguing, then you probably just bear all these, and then wait until this discussion over.
I mean, I think the points come up are like we know that certain animals think, like we've seen octopuses are able to have a long-term memory, they can solve puzzles, they're very, very smart. And we can say that humans have a lot of abilities that other animals don't, but on the flip side, animals also have a lot of abilities that humans don't. And so I don't know if that argument that humans are so special is convincing enough.
Okay. Vivian, any thoughts?
It's a good point, which Sherman brought up. I'm listening for now.
Venerable?
Points. I think of humans as well having the ability to accomplish long-term and short-term goals. I think we do see that in some animals, to some degree. I think the other aspect is the kind of creativity that humans have, and to be able to manifest that. Like some animals do make tools, but they're usually quite simple. I don't think we can say in a way like, many birds have better eyes than I do. Many other deer have better hearing than I do. If we compare in that way, then yeah, on certain functions or abilities, there is a valuation, right? But I think for me, I think not so much that humans are the center of the universe, and then there's this hierarchy based on that therefore we have domination over animals. But that the potentiality of a human life, we could blow up the world if we wanted. Most octopus cannot, right? We can go to another planet. We can do a lot of other things. We can do surgery on one another. We can put in artificial organs. I think it's this creative potential, which is noted here that it can be for extreme good if there's altruism, or it can be completely destructive. I think it's that potentiality that we're pointing to in the human rebirth, less so the value of life, right? Because we do talk about sentient beings. We're trying to benefit all sentient beings, and that includes those that are in the animal realm. I think even some animals have a wider range of emotional capacity than humans at times. I think some humans have it more than other animals, So it just those things I think vary. There's a spectrum. But yeah, I'm for animal rights in many ways. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I think it's like a more of a specific function of humans rather than like a hierarchy of beingness, right? That makes sense.
Yes. So, like in Buddhism, why you are striving for becoming Buddha? Because you want to help all sentient beings. So it's not like we look down upon all other species or lives, but in some degree, or just for the way of doing this philosophical thinking, or the ability to create influence in a huge scale, that kind of thing. And also three things. One is better memorizing all the teachings. Like, for example, some of the monks, they would be able to memorize all Tripitaka. They can recite for days, non-stopping.
Like 1,000 books.
Like 1,000 books.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my professors back in States when I was studying in University of West, there was a doctor. His name is Ananda Guruge. Was Ananda Guruge. He passed away, and he will be able to memorize all his own work, like 40 different books. He memorized them all. So in the class, you will be able to recite any part of the books. Yeah, any parts of the books. So it's amazing. So with that kind of ability of memorizing things, that's something so unique you can find in human beings. And another thing is when we want to correct ourselves with this kind of determination, then we will do so diligently, like correcting ourselves to make ourselves better. We can spend days, weeks, months, years to improve ourselves. And that is something you compare with other beings, to be better and better and better. That is something that human beings can achieve. And also that kind of dedication, like be dedicated in that and to like spend times, energy in it. That is also something that you can only find in human beings. Yeah. When, okay, I'm going to finish this, I will fully focus on this to finish this book writing, for example, or study one lesson from A to Z, from very beginning until the end, to receive that certificate or anything, or working on a driver's license, for example, all that. You can find that these are something that human beings can do, but other beings cannot, mostly. Yeah, probably, they probably have some kind of, we don't know, but to see like in general, mostly you can see like human beings, we will be more capable of doing these things. Okay. So using what we have as human beings, at least on these three parts, like one, we can memorize things better, and two, like to purify ourselves better, and three, we can dedicate ourselves in certain fields better. Then we use all these good qualities we have as a human, and then work on this path to enlightenment. Um, here.
Among all human rebirths, the subject at hand is the human birth endowed with freedom and endowments. This is the supreme basis for learning and practicing the Dharma, for it can bring about Buddhahood, liberation, and an advantageous rebirth among heavenly beings or humans. Having gained such an extraordinary body, the only shortcoming is our own lack of diligence. If we genuinely apply ourselves, we can achieve all the benefits described above. Details of these points will be explained more thoroughly later.
Yes. And also last part, I remember once Master Papanka, who said he said to his disciples, if I'm trying to teach a little dog about how to recite the mantra, I will have to spend a lot of time. But if I just tell a novice monk to do, and like few seconds, someone can repeat after me and recite for probably 10 minutes. Yeah, so this is also to show that to use this capacity as a human and to learn the Dharma is quite good, especially when we talk about the benefits of having better next lifetime, or be able to eradicate all suffering, and also be able to be enlightened and to realize all the methods of helping sentient beings. Of course, we should strive for that. And so with this, having this kind of like precious human body is like having the best iPad or best iPhone you can imagine. Okay, the best iPad or best iPhone. Of course, human body can be many times better than an iPhone or iPad. Yeah, But say like someone using iPhone only to receive calls or text messaging, or to have it on iPad by using that as a chopper board, like then it's like totally wasting of this valuable like
ability,
ability
capacity,
of capacity. Yeah,
potential.
potential. Yeah, so now you have this valuable body, you have this quite good functioning body and brain. So how can we make use of all these? Yeah, as a human.
A chopping board iPad's clear. Although we now possess a human birth replete with freedom and endowments, we fail to realize its preciousness. We never pause to wonder, what can I actually accomplish with this body? Even though it surpasses hundreds of thousands of wish-fulfilling gems in value, without knowing where its true preciousness lies, we will not know how to use it. If we don't know how to use it, having a human body of leisure and endowments won't help us at all. Thus, we must understand why this human birth is so valuable so we can properly make use of it.
Yeah. So far, any questions? Okay. So to study all these texts or this Buddhist scriptures are actually to unveil all the possibilities for us, especially on something beyond, like worldly things that we can pursue a better career or having more money or building good relationships with others. Yeah, we can learn that all easily, I think, with the internet and everything. But to talk about something beyond, it's hard. And you can have a lot of imaginations. But here in Buddhism, especially to talk about this through cultivation in certain meditations or learning certain teachings so that you will be able to achieve certain abilities of communicating with all these, transcend beings, like, or sacred beings in different realms, for example. Like having this so-called, yoga, different yogas. So not only to regard your teacher as Buddha, that kind of yoga, but also some yogas like you can even talk to, for example, like Manjushri Bodhisattva, the Great Wisdom, or you can talk directly to Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, for example, or any Buddhas that you want to talk to. All these kind of practices, all these kinds of cultivations that you can learn through various Buddhist scriptures. And with proper guidance, you can do that. You can achieve all these abilities. You can have all these abilities. And then you will be able to know all these something beyond are not imagination. They are all achievable. Okay, they are something that you can spend time to work on yourself and then to attain that kind of state of mind or abilities. Okay. So you have 5 minutes, please. 19,
19.
18, 19.
Many people think finding $100 or $1,000 on the street would be so lucky. If I lost that money, I would be quite upset. Yet if we waste a day, a month, or even a year, we rarely feel the slightest regret. This shows we do not understand the preciousness of our human birth, and naturally we do not cherish it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Our lineage gurus have given this analogy. If a beggar is unaware that there is family gold hidden in his own stove, he will never use that gold to improve his life. He will remain a beggar, living miserably. Our own situation is identical. Although we have obtained a human body endowed with freedom and endowments, we do not know how its real worth, and thus will not make proper use of it.
So that's the imaginations that we know. Okay, so all these great gurus or great Buddhist practitioners, they have done so much on cultivation, so achieve certain abilities, or really being born into Pure Lands, or be able to reincarnate themselves and back to this place and help sentient beings. So you have all these kind of like visions that, okay, these are all possible to achieve. So these are the goals that we are talking about. So if we don't know that actually we are possessing all these goals, then we don't know the value of them. But now we know, the precious life and also the possibilities to become a Buddha in the future even. And then we know how to value all these, how to embrace all these abilities and embrace and to to see the precious part of having all these abilities as a human and pursuing all these goals, just like all these great practitioners in the past.
What is so precious about having a body endowed with freedom? Enables us to develop benevolence, compassion, and bodhicitta, ultimately culminating in the perfect fruit of Buddhahood. It also allows us to realize the wisdom of non-self, bringing about liberation. If we cannot achieve these in the near term, we can at least take refuge in the three jewels, practice the 10 virtues, and thereby secure an advantageous rebirth as a human or heavenly being. Although human birth endowed with freedom allows us to accomplish such meaningful things, most people have little understanding of these aspects. Even if they have some minor knowledge, they do not take it to heart, perhaps feeling these are merely empty words. As a result, they overlook the importance of this life endowed with freedom.
Okay, so this part, like, how do I even know that what it would be so-called this benevolence, compassion, bodhicitta, or like 10 wholesome deeds and taking refuge in three jewels? What are the benefits or the meanings of all these? Yeah, of course, we will come to that in the future. Like in these are to just keep having a general understanding of what we are going to study throughout this Lama Tsongkhapa, the stages on the path to enlightenment. And at least one thing that we can be sure of is that without Buddhism to show all these, then to talk about next lifetime is like totally, how to say, unimaginable. It's too beyond, something like so abstract. Like you can't even come up with. You can only listen to some of the philosophers or through novels or fictions that you probably can come up with some imagination. But all these great teachings being transmitted through centuries with all these great practitioners because they have been to the levels that they will be able to see things in different realms or even many lifetimes, like before and after. So they will be able to tell us, what really will be, for the next lifetime, or how you could see in a bigger scale, like not only on this planet Earth, but more, like different dimensions or different universes even. Yeah. And as a being, a sentient being or a life, what can we do? To go beyond or to be liberated from this cycle of birth and death, like that. So all these, they went through and they really achieved those goals in nirvana or in this ultimate happiness. Then they tell us the methods. So now we know at least. Okay, so firstly we should take refuge to the three jewels and do this 10 wholesome deeds in order to have a better next lifetime. And using this precious human life to cultivate, then we can even achieve this Buddhahood by practicing this benevolence and compassion and bodhicitta, the aspiration to become a Buddha, and to reach that kind of fulfillment as a Buddha. So all these we will be able to learn by this good scripture, this good treatise. So Venerable.
Any comments?
Any
I mean,
comments?
I think there's a few ways you can look at why we talk about this. This topic is called precious human rebirth, right? It's like one category that we can develop through analysis and attain realization. And here we're getting all these points of analysis of why this human rebirth is precious. I think sometimes it can be seen as like this statement of cosmology, which is true, right? That's one way. And then another way is that this is talking about you, right? It's talking about your human life, right? Your rebirth, your ability, whether you meet the conditions perfectly or not, right? From your side, do you actually have a strong value of your life, right? Do you see your body as just something disposable, or like have a negative self-view, or I'm not going to accomplish anything, or whatever, something I can do it later. We kind of have these sometimes demeaning or degrading thoughts about ourself and our body and our life in total, right? And I think this is really pointing us towards, no matter what your life is like, it is a precious human rebirth that you can use at any moment. And getting that kind of positive, optimistic, and confident way that I can use my moment now towards something great that I can conceive of, right? I think what you're saying about like, if we don't even receive the abstract concept of being a Buddha, and we have no confidence in it, and we think it's just a fantasy, will we ever put effort in towards that? No, right? But if we can conceive of it and have confidence in it, and then see our body as something wonderful that can achieve that, we will naturally move towards it, right? We will accomplish something, right? So I think, yeah, it's good to see this as a commentary on yourself, not just like humans, like as a vague concept, right?
Mark
That's
says something.
Mark has some comments.
Also, no animal has ever shown
Question.
to exhibit an existential thought. I guess
This falls.
that falls under philosophic thinking. Humans also have access to the Dharma and to experience the suffering of impermanence so that we are able to contemplate it. Okay. Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Mark. So it's time. We need to transfer all the merits. So let's join our palms. Transferring the merits at the end of learning. May the merit gained from this practice adorn the Buddha's Pure Land. May repay the kindness of parents, sentient beings, teachers, and the triple gem from above, and relieve the suffering of those in the hell, hungry ghost, and animal realms below. May those who see or hear of this practice generate the aspiration for ultimate enlightenment. When this life ends, may we be born together in the land of ultimate bliss. We pray to all Buddhas of the 10 directions, past, present, and future, to all Bodhisattvas and Mahasattvas. Mahaprajna Pramita. Amitofo.
Thank you.
Thank you.